first one we've got for you is The Hum of the Machine by Gramma Vendetta, and this was released on the 27th of May on Mandrone Records. It's 9 tracks and roughly 48 minutes long. So I think this is the second full album from Gramma Vedetta, who are London based. They're a sort of doomy prog rock kind of classic metal inspired band, and it's been out for a while, and Dan from the band sent us over the album quite a while ago. He also sent us something from a band called Desert Clouds, which I think he's involved in, something that I've not got round to diving into yet. Dan is also the guitarist for the band Alice is Sleeping, who are a band that they have, they've got a really good song called Over and Over Again, which has been on been their alternative music playlists. They've got a really good singer, and I think it was Iketan that recommended us to Dan to send us this over to us.
Yeah, I seem to remember Iketan talking about them quite a lot as well, like in the interview that we did with them.
Yeah. And I was actually aware of Gramma Vedetta before Dan sent this over, and I don't know whether that was Iketan shared it or whether it just came up on my feed for whatever reason. But basically Mandrone Records were releasing, I don't know if it's their first release, but they were releasing like a special edition cassette of Gramma Vedetta's, I suppose it's an EP, Acid Compliant. It's an 8-track EP, 4 tracks of kind of doomy prog rock, and then another 4 tracks were like 8-bit renditions of those same songs. And as soon as I saw the artwork and the packaging for this, I bought it immediately. So I've got it here, and it's basically designed to look like an old Mega Drive game.
Fantastic.
So you can see like the artwork's retro, like you've got this kind of skyline in the background which is very Streets of Rage. It's very sci-fi. You've got the Mandrone Records logo, which looks like the Sega
done like
logo.
The Sega.
Yeah, and then on the back you can see you've got the 8-bit, you've got the 2 sides of the 8-bit ones, and you've got these like random game screenshots for some sort of like strategy RPG or something. I don't really know what that is. I don't know if you can see that, but and then you've got the tape inside. So this is a really, really cool, like I said, as soon as
that's a cool bit of merch, man. That's really cool.
As soon as I saw them selling that, it's like, I've got to have me a bit of that. So yeah. So that's how I kind of first came aware of Gramma Vedetta, and that's quite a decent EP. There's there's like chugging riffs, stomping drums. There's a bit of Black Sabbath, Alice in Chains, some Led Zeppelin even, maybe a bit of Hendrix and the likes of Cream in there as well. Probably my favourite song on that EP is called Everything Is Terrible and The House Is on Fire, and it's just under 2 minutes long, and it just does this really like down and dirty riff. There's some sort of voice samples and things in there, but it's got this ending that just sounds like kind of Ozzy Osbourne crossed with Lane Staley. It's really cool. The EP is a little bit rough around the edges, I would say, but I think on this album, The Hum of the Machine, that production has definitely improved, and this record sounds absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, I can't speak for the EP, but yeah, I thought this was a great album. I would say that I immediately fell in love with this album. You've mentioned the likes of Sabbath there already, and yeah, it immediately put me in mind of a Black Sabbath. From the word go, down to the kind of gloomy, kind of doom, kind of gloom doom, gloomy guitar riffs, and the guy's vocals as well. Like, they're undeniably kind of Ozzy Osbourne-esque. But yeah, I heard a lot of other influences in there as well. I can't remember what song it was, but there's a guitar solo, I think it's maybe in Robots of War, which is a kind of banging banging song. The guitar solo at first kind of reminded me a bit of some Motley Crue, so like it was kind of a Mick Mars-esque type kind of guitar solo, and then it kind of changed. Like there was a kind of tonal change, and then like it reminded me of like something Queen might have done.
Yeah,
like
definitely.
It kind of took on more of this kind of swooning Brian May-esque kind of feel to it that I really enjoyed. There was kind of wax of Black Mountain in there as well, particularly I think it was their third album, 2010 album, Wilderness Heart. Obviously both bands are pretty proggy, so yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I think you mentioned Robots for War there. Like that opens like a straight up Monster Magnet song. Like it could come straight off a Power Trip. Like it's a really cool song, and there's a real sort of swagger to it. And there's a real swagger to a lot of the riffs on this, and it's got these cool little bass solos that kind of punctuate between the guitars and the vocals. The vocals at the end of the chorus that go, "They are all robots for war. We are all robots for war," is great. I'm not doing it justice, obviously, but and like you say, there's those guitar solos that sort of mix like elements of Led Zeppelin and Queen and Hendrix. You know, it's really cool. There's even a bit of kind of brass fanfare towards the end of that song as well, just thrown into the mix, which is pretty cool. Like you say, the vocals in general are very, very Ozzy Osbourne. I mean, Future of the Past is probably the most Ozzy song. That opening line, "I want to live in the future of the past with flying cars, with flying cars." You could imagine Ozzy singing that. Like it's brilliant.
To be fair, there's. I mean, I found myself singing along to that a lot. Starlight Portal Show, been singing that like from the word go. Just trying to emulate the kind of lead singer. Yeah, Futures of the Past.
It's a bit on that Starlight Portal Show song where somebody's kid starts singing the title.
I thought that was a stroke of genius, man.
Yeah.
Because then like, you hear the kind of it's the wee kid, and then there's like a really good breakdown after that I really enjoyed. And we all want to live in the future of the past. You know what I mean? Like everybody, where are our flying cars? I've kind of written down here, like I thought it was kind of worth mentioning. That I saw a meme not all that long ago online that said that George Jetson from the Jetsons was born sometime in 2022. Yeah, so it's coming, man. It's coming.
Yeah,
we'll see flying cars in our lifetime.
The thing about flying cars, there's this, on the 10th anniversary version of Clerks, there's like I don't know if it's a deleted scene from the film or whether it's just like a little promo thing that they filmed, but it's basically Dante and Randall sitting in their car, chatting about like where are the flying cars that we were promised. It's really, really good, and I think it's probably on YouTube, but that's where I first saw it on like the extras, the DVD extras, which are a thing of the past themselves. But yeah, that was really good. What else? There's loads of interesting things in here. Like the opening track, "A Chance to Win the Orb," has got some like almost like Eddie Vedder style like wails, like the echo through between these like angular, gnarly guitar licks, and there's a bit of psychedelia towards the end. There's like a weird voice sample. I don't know if it's a sample or just like the singer whispering, but it's something like, "I remember the place. It was a long time ago. I remember the sound, the smell. I'll never forget it." It's very sort of eerie. And sort of profound sounding as well, but yeah, just loads of cool riffs. The Broken Time Machine is like sort of an Alice in Chains kind of style ballad, as well.
It's funny though, like I felt like a Broken Time Machine. It felt like a soundtrack to me. Like it was really atmospheric. Like, you know, a lot of the tracks on this album are really atmospheric, but it actually put me in the mind of Jeff Wayne's famous War of the Worlds album.
Oh, all right, okay.
I don't know which song in particular, but it gave me those types of feels, man, and I enjoyed it. But it's, you know, like you said, I mean, there's so many different influences in there, because Transmissions On, which is a kind of largely atmospheric proggy instrumental number. I think there is like some kind of voice samples and stuff like that in there. But I mean, that for me sounded like a Roger Waters Pink Floyd number.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, there's not many lyrics to that, but the lyrics that are there, or the vocals that are there, it's like a robotic, chant almost. And there's a couple of interesting lines from that. There's one, I'm going for a run, watered by rum. They don't want me in their club, I don't belong. And what's the other one? It's like there's like a sort of chorus section that comes in. It's like, hello, how life has changed so dramatically. Positive words. God, that bores me. I'm dead and gone. Still, I feel alive. This is so wrong, but I think it's right. Why do you pray for the Lord? I just love that bit. And then there's another bit that goes, after that chorus, it goes, boom, 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 peekaboo, I see you.
Yeah.
Say hi to your mum, we had some fun.
I think there's I think it's that bit maybe that reminds me a kind of Pink Floyd, like like the likes of The Wall, like that type of era Pink Floyd. And Roger Waters, he's kind of mostly responsible for putting together The Wall, and he's a bit of a weird bastard.
Yeah, there's lots of like psychedelic sections on this, definitely. There's even bits. There's the odd bit that sounds like, try to find what track it was. It's the Electric Game, and there's like a bit of bass. There's a bass line on there. It sounds like Beastie Boys' Sabotage. It's got that same sort of jangly bass line. And there's a bit of thrash on there as well. It reminded me a wee bit of early Metallica. So I mean, there's even the end of that song reminded me of Guns N' Roses' cover of Live and Let Die. It's got a really familiar sort of solo, and I don't know if it's the vocal melody or what, but it just popped into my head. So yeah, really, really interesting album, this. Did you listen to any of the 8-bit versions? Because there's an entire 8-bit album of this.
I was actually just listening to that, when I was having my tea, or having my tea made for me. And yeah, it was great, man. I really enjoyed it. I found myself, it was the Electric Game, actually. I think it was, because I didn't get a chance to listen to all of it. And I was singing along to Electric Game, like the 8-bit version of Electric Game.
There's a really good cover of Weezer's The World Has Turned and Left Me Here by a guy called Bit Shifter, which is really good. Like, it's one of the best 8-bit covers I've heard. But yeah, the 8-bit versions of these are pretty good. There's another band I wanted to mention, just because it's that kind of stomp and swagger that reminded me of them. They're a band called The One and Only People Mover. I don't know if you've heard of them.
They're the Sasquatch guys. Sasquatch.
Yeah, so they're basically, is it a 3-piece? I think they're a 3-piece, and they all dress up as Sasquatches. And their on-stage shtick is that they've escaped the zoo, and their zookeeper is like chasing them about or something. But they've got the same kind of like stomp and like pomp, I guess, or a similar sort of thing that like Monster Magnet have, and that I think Gramma Vedetta have as well. I've kind of lost track of them over the years, but they had a really good EP out in 2015, which was just called People Mover, and that's PPLMVR. I don't know if that's because they're apes and they're supposed to be like sort of illiterate. I don't know what that is, but they're quite an interesting band. But anyway, so what score have you given this?
To be honest, man, I've said a 9 out of 10.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm on as well. It's I think just like, we haven't really mentioned it, but this sort of overall, I mentioned a wee bit at the start, the overall production of this, like all the instruments sound really clear, and like all the little percussive sounds and things that come through, the like distortion on the guitars is really cool. The vocals are integrated really well into the songs. The sound of this album is wonderful.
I would agree, man. Like in my notes I've written like brilliantly polished and produced.
Yeah. Nice. Okay, so that was The Hum of the Machine by Gramma Vedetta.
It's not finished. It's finished.